Alright, welcome back to the channel. In this video, I'm going to compare fuel economy between a modern diesel with all the emissions equipment versus a pre-emissions diesel that has no emissions, no EGR, no DPF, no SCR, no diesel oxidation catalyst, not even a catalytic converter. Okay? And we're going to see who wins. Which one gets the best fuel economy? Now I have two vehicles here that we're going to go over. They're both mine, and these are what you see before you are fuel economy spreadsheets or charts that are both 1 year, right? So 98, 1 year's worth of driving, and the 2021 Ram, 1 year's worth of driving. And we're going to compare between the two. Bottom line up front. So if all you want is just the straight to the point, well, here it is. Bottom line up front. My 2021 Ram 2500. It's a crew cab short bed 4-wheel drive. It's got the 6.7 Cummins with all the emissions. Okay, fully intact, fully stock, no programmer, nothing. Everything intact. This truck gets better fuel economy than the 98 12 valve with no emissions. Bottom up front, that's what it is. Modern diesels get better fuel economy than the older diesels. All right, that's it. If you want to shut her down, you can shut her down now and go about your business. If you want now anything after this, I'm going to go into detail and go over each truck, look at the year in review per truck, and look at the fuel economy, okay? All right. So you can see here, now I've got these spreadsheets scrolled all the way to the bottom because I want to talk about the overall average for the year. Okay, so what you see on the left side of your screen, this is my 98 12 valve. It's a 1 year fuel economy chart. And on the right is my 2021 1 year fuel economy chart. The 98 on your left, I bought that in January of 2023, and it was my daily driver for the entire year. The chart on your right is my 2021. Now I drove, this is a full year's worth of driving in 2022, because obviously I didn't have the 98 then. I did drive more in 2022, but that's not what we're going to focus on. We're going to focus on the fuel economy, the average per year, okay? So we're going to scroll to the bottom, right, down here. For the 98 12 valve, the average fuel, right, the average fuel cost in 2023 for me and where I live and where I've been driving was $3.94 average per year for the year. I drove 21,900.8 miles. I filled up 1,100.18 gallons of diesel, which averages 19.17 miles to the gallon. So basically 19 miles to the gallon, a little over 19 miles to the gallon. Total cost of fuel for 2023 in my 98 was $4,293.02. All right, which is good, right? Look, mileage for the year average for the truck was 19.17 miles to the gallon. That's pretty good for a 98 12 valve. The 98, by the way, is a 4-door extended cab long bed. It is 4-wheel drive, and it does have 33s. It's an automatic as well. So, okay. The 2021, in 2022, the average cost of fuel was $4.95. Now, this was the year, I mean, man, when Joey Bribes stole control, fuel economy, fuel mileage, fuel costs just skyrocketed, and particularly in 2022, it was bad. You can look at some of this cost of it at $6.49, right? Ridiculous. But anyways, I drove 36,562.4 miles in that year. I filled up 1,650.5 gallons, and my average fuel economy for the year was 22.15 miles to the gallon. So that's really good. That's, well over the average for the 98, right? That's pretty good. So anyway, that's almost, 3 miles to the gallon more. And then I spent a total of $8,537.23 in the cost of fuel in 2022. Wow, that's a lot. All right, so now we're going to scroll up on both sides, and we're going to quickly make our way down, right? So the reason why I chose both these charts is because both these charts have a cross-country trip. My 98 12 valve, I bought it in January. I flew out to Washington State and I drove it all the way back to South Carolina. The highest, this was mostly all highway, as you can see. The highest fuel economy I got during this trip was 24.9 miles to the gallon. So 25 miles, basically just about 25 miles to the gallon out of my 98, which is really good. And as you make your way down, I'm averaging, I'm getting really good fuel economy. A lot of green here, a lot of 19 and higher, 18 and higher, a lot of 20 miles to the gallon or higher. So it's the 98 does really well. And as you can see, I've been messing with fuel additives. I'll talk about that in a different video. I'm not going to get into it here. All right, so now let's whirl over to the 21. Starting from the top, it's getting really good fuel economy. You can see here I got my cruise set at 65. I let you know, particularly these highway runs, what I set the cruise at. And it's adaptive cruise, so it'll speed up, slow down, depending on the traffic in front of me, right? But I set it and I forget it, right? Set it and forget it. And a lot of this is set at 65 on cruise. So, I'm getting 24 miles to the gallon here. Look at this one, 27.7 miles to the gallon. This was 13th of January 2022. Making our way down. You can see here, man, this truck is getting really good fuel economy. A lot of 20 and higher. A lot of 25 miles to the gallon and higher. Look at this one right here. March 5th, 27.07 miles to the gallon. Phenomenal. Look at this one. 28.5 miles to the gallon. 25, 26. Look at this one right here. 22nd April 2022, 29.98 miles to the gallon. Did you hear that? 29.98. That is phenomenal, right? This is a truck with emissions, because people think that without emissions you'll get better fuel economy, and with emissions your fuel economy is going to be garbage. No, it's not. It's not. These modern diesels, now if we're talking about when emissions first came out, and when I'm talking about emissions, I'm talking about that dang diesel particulate filter. When that was introduced in 2007.5 in the Dodge Ram 6.7 Cummins trucks, the 2008 Ford 6.4, and 2007 GM Duramax, yes, those vehicles, when these filters were being forced on these manufacturers, yes, those trucks got horrible fuel economy. The regens were not situated very well. They weren't programmed very well, and they would just dump fuel, right? But these modern trucks, the diesel emissions technology has improved vastly since that time. And they are so much better today, especially with the introduction of SCR, 2013 with the Rams. Ford was a little bit sooner, 2011, and I think GM was roughly around that same time frame. SCR really helps with fuel economy because it helps the engine work a little bit. It doesn't work as hard, right? It's not introducing EGR as much. It can run at better programming to get better fuel economy, right? So these modern diesels really do get, even with emissions, can get really good fuel economy, right? Look at this one right here, 28.3 miles to the gallon, 20th of May. We look at this cross-country trip. Look at this. The most I got was 30.4 miles to the gallon. You see that? 28 June 2022, I drove 334.7 miles. It was all highway. I filled up 20.7 gallons, and I got, oh, I'm sorry. Scroll back down. 28 June, 334.7 miles, all highway. I filled up 11.0 gallons. It was actually like 11.0 something, but it was 11.0 gallons. I got 30.42 miles to the gallon. 30 miles to the gallon. Now, if you go to the remarks here, the cruise was set at 70 miles an hour, but major hypermilling. So I wanted to squeeze as much fuel economy as I possibly could, so I hypermilled the majority of that highway run, and I got 30.4 miles a gallon. Some of these other stuff here, oh wait, I just found one that's even better. Look at this one. The 2nd of July, I drove 258.7 miles, all highway, filled up 7.6 gallons of fuel, 34.03 miles to the gallon. 34 miles to the gallon. Again, major hypermilling, cruise set at 70. Phenomenal. But even without hypermilling, this truck, my 2021, still gets good fuel economy, even during regens. A lot of times people think regens really hurt fuel economy, and it does. But they're not bad. Look at this one right here. 23rd July, my truck went into an automatic regen. It started at 37,402 miles. It lasted through 37,424 miles. Total miles in active regen was 22 miles, and I still got 20 miles to the gallon. Look at this other one right here. August 6th. Automatic regen started at 38,640 miles. It lasted through 38,654 miles. Total miles in active regen was 14. I still got 21 miles to the gallon. And you can just look, you can read it for yourself, these notes here with the automatic regen. And you can see here, I'm still getting pretty good fuel economy. Even in regen, I'm getting good fuel economy. So when the truck, with all its emissions, is doing its thing, whether in a regen or not, it still gets better fuel economy than a truck with 0 emissions. Now granted, if I took the 98 out, did a 4-hour run somewhere and 4-hour back and major hypermilled, I could probably get over 25 miles to the gallon. I don't know if I can get 30 because I just don't see it happening in my 9812 valve, but I know I can get over 25 because I've hit 24 miles to the gallon, and that's not without hypermilling. That's just cruise set at like 60 or something. Because this was when I bought the 98 in January of last year. This was during all the snowstorms, and when I was driving across country, I was driving pretty slow. So, but anyways, so that's the breakdown, right? You can see here the average miles to the gallon. My average fuel economy for both trucks. You can see down here, a 21 Ram with all its emissions gets better fuel economy, 2.98 miles to the gallon, better than the 98 12 valve with 0 emissions. So there you go. Modern diesels with emissions, they do get better fuel economy. These old trucks, they get good fuel economy, but not as good as the modern diesels of today. So, all right, I'm going to shut it down there. Hope you've enjoyed this video. I've never said this before, but to help me out now that I'm over 1,000 subscribers, I can't believe I'm going to say this. I never thought of myself saying this, but if you like my stuff, please like and subscribe. Share this, and you can share these videos and show people that yes, these trucks can get good fuel economy, but it's at a cost. Okay, it's not like you can drive 80 miles an hour and get 30 miles a gallon. No, we're talking driving slow and hypermilling. Okay, there's always a caveat. All right, I drive slow, and you can just take a look. Right, just look at where I got the cruise set, where I have things like major hypermilling. Just take a look. Right, so comes at a cost, whether that's driving slow and whatever, or if you want to drive fast, get there like 2 seconds ahead of schedule than what you're used to, then by all means, but just be aware that your fuel economy is going to suck and your pocketbook is going to feel it. Because if I was averaging 15 miles to the gallon, this number here would be significantly more. All right, I'm done ranting. Thank you for watching, and we'll see y'all in the next video.